I'd like to just say testing.
Okay. One thing about Friday's fight on the 13th, this Friday. Don't forget the winners will continue on, and June 6th will be the semifinals. But the championship continues on. So whoever the champ after the weekend this Friday will continue on and have another world championship fight on June 6th. That's going to be in Chicago, live on DAZN as one of our exclusive DAZN events. So thank you very much, and let's open it up for questions.
Gareth Davis from The Telegraph. Can I ask you first, Scott, how important was it to get both Ryan Bader back in action and obviously to get the middleweight belt back in action with Douglas Lima and Gegard Mousasi?
Yeah, getting Ryan back was one of our top priorities. As you guys know, it's been a while since he fought, but I can assure you we're going to keep him busy because he is the double champ. And as soon as he comes off this fight, we'll talk to him about the weight class. But you know, I'd like Ryan to fight 3-4 times a year, to be honest.
Can I get an answer from that, from you, Ryan, on that? Obviously, you've had a layoff. Your opponent's just here in front of us, of course, from the heavyweights final. Were you pushing to get back, and was there one belt more than the other that you wanted to defend?
We kind of knew we were going back down for sure. It's been since 2017 since I won and defended. You know, but we went through that tournament and they asked me to defend the heavyweight first, and so I did that, and now it's on go down 205, and so yeah, I was ready to go. You know, we were trying to do January on, so worked out. It's May 9th, so I got that fight booked, and I'm happy about it. And like Scott was saying, I want to be active also, so we're on the same wavelength.
And a final question for Douglas Lima. You know, champ is a very fashionable thing at the moment. There are a few of them floating around. How important for you in your legacy is this fight with one of the great mixed martial artists of all time, I would say, Gegard Mousasi?
Definitely. You know, I like the champ talk. The main thing is just legacy, you know, fighting a guy like that, you know what I mean? One of the best in the world for sure, you know, a lot of respect. And man, looking forward to the challenge. You know what I mean? That's what I'm here for. I want big challenges, and this is the biggest for me right now. So I'm looking forward to this.
Question for Scott. Scott, you have obviously this event is stacked, and it looks like summer and spring is going to be a big season for Bellator. Can you talk about the importance of spring and summer for the company upcoming here in this year, and some of the matchups you're excited to see?
I mean, if you look at the amount of talent that's up here, that's really what I'm excited about. These fights are going to be unbelievable. We have some of the best fighters in the world in every division. Listen, these guys could fight anybody in the world. It doesn't matter what organization. And you know what, they have proven to me over and over that you know, they deserve to be where they're at, and that's here with Bellator. So as far as, you know, the spring and summer, we wanted to actually bring it to you guys to let you know what we have planned, and it's going to be a big spring and summer for us. And I'm not just excited about, you know, the next 3-4 months. I'm excited about the fall. We have an amazing fall schedule coming up that we'll announce later. But also what's going to happen in the next year, and the year after, and the year after as we expand. Like I said, this is a company that went from doing 16 fights a year 5 years ago to doing 30 fights a year. And now I believe that we'll be doing 40, maybe 50 fights a year in the next 3-4 years.
And one final one for you. Is there any concern of having a champ in a tournament, because you know that means multiple title defenses in one weight class, and then no title defenses in whatever other weight class they hold the belt in?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think we should really think about. I think you're right, because the champ gets stuck in the tournament and he can't defend us of the belt. But you know, I was hoping that the last fight for Pitbull maybe wasn't as damaging, you know, for him, and he could fight, you know, the fight in between, and it just didn't work out. But in saying that, you know, we will wrap this tournament up sometime, hopefully August, early September, and then he can defend his lightweight belt right after that, and we'll put on some elimination fights, you know, to get him ready for that.
Is Chandler versus Henderson a title eliminator? Who do you think is up next in lightweight?
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is the elimination fight right here. I mean, this is, you know, you can talk about two of the baddest men on the planet. So, you know, to me, that makes the most sense. And you know, but let's see how things go, because you never know in this sport.
And for Ryan, it's been since 2017 since you fought at light heavyweight. Any concerns dropping back down to 205, given the fact that you fought at heavyweight and you don't have to worry about the weight cut?
No, a couple of months ago, I kind of tried to get down as low as possible without cutting water, basically. I got down to like 213. That's without cutting water. So it kind of reset my body. I was upwards of 240 in camp. Now I'm sitting about 225, so that's no concern.
And a question for Emmanuel Sanchez and Daniel Weichel. Pretty much if you win this fight, the next fight's going to be a title fight regardless of who you're going to face next. Can you talk about what's it like having a champ in your bracket, and you prefer that as opposed to having, facing the champion at the end of the tournament?
Go ahead, Daniel. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. That's a great question. I did not plan ahead of time being on the same side of the champion with the champion's choice in the selection show, and who knows what was going to happen or who he would decide to go with, what date or what opponent. But I have an opportunity, a great opportunity for redemption here on two men who have defeated me. And so after I take out Daniel Weichel, I'll have the opportunity to take out Patricio Pitbull as well too, and go on to become the featherweight World Grand Prix champion.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't matter in which bracket I was going to, but it was always about writing legacy, and this tournament is all about that, fighting the best featherweights on the planet, and having Pitbull in my pool. Yeah, it looks like all good things coming through.
And one last one for Douglas Lima. Douglas Lima, this is this is going to be a nice super fight. You're going up to 185. Have you had that in your mind for a while, moving up a weight class? I mean, the media and often fans talk about how big you look at 170. Kind of just speak to us about your mentality going up to 185, and if that's something you've had on your mind for a while.
Yeah, definitely. I've always talked about moving up to middleweight, and I think this is the perfect timing for it. The top 5, 6 top guys in the welterweight, I've beat all of them, so it's just a good time for them, to settle and see who's gonna be next, and just a big opportunity for me to cement my legacy. I want pound for pound list. You know what I mean? This fight will do it. You know what I mean? It's a big fight. I'm all about super fights and stuff like that, and just really can't wait for this one.
Question for Nemkov. They show the highlight video and obviously the connection with Emelianenko. I just wanted to know any feelings you have with the upcoming matchup and how it's affected your training, preparation, things like that.
Я думаю, прежде всего, о своем бою, но все равно, как бы то ни было, бить буду. Но бой будет тяжелым, и буду бить и за себя, и за Федора. Так что тут, скопилось как бы.
He said, of course, this fight is, my fight, and it's about me fighting Ryan, and it's not going to be an easy fight for me. But yes, when I hit him, I'm going to hit him for me and for Fedor. It's kind of accumulated by now. So.
And a follow-up just for Mr. Bader, if you have any, obviously, a reaction to that.
No, it's a totally different fight, totally different person, and you can't take much either way from our fight. It ended quickly. It's one of those things that it could be a lot different. It went, the full 5 rounds. Just happened to go like that, and it is what it is. I know I have my hands full with him. He's a totally different fighter, young fighter coming up, and I'm looking forward to that test coming down to 205. Get those young, fast guys again. So I'm pumped for it.
And just one last one for James Gallagher. I just wanted an update from you. I know you had an injury not that long ago, and the fight's coming up in May, so I just wanted to see where you were at in preparation and stuff.
Yeah, I'm feeling great now. I'm back into training. I'm literally just back from Dubai. I was overseeing there's also Manny Pacquiao's surgeon, and he was examining me and sorting me out. We went through a load of stuff over there, and I'm feeling in tip-top shape and ready to knuckle down, and I'm looking forward to keeping this man's head in May 16th.
Scott, based on how some things could play out over the next couple of months, you could wind up with 6 belts being held by just 3 guys. From a business standpoint, do you consider that a good thing, a bad thing, or would it be a little too top-heavy?
I mean, at the end of the day, these fighters deserve it. I mean, this is a fight that actually Douglas Lima called and asked for to fight Gegard. We had the situation with Lovato, and we had a vacant belt, so he was naturally, the one to call up, and we said, hey, if he wants to do it, let's put it together. Having 3 guys hold 6 different belts, to me, I'm okay with it as long as they're active. And the tournament situation, like this gentleman pointed out earlier, is not ideal because he gets stuck in the tournament for so long. But as long as we don't have a tournament going, they have a double belts, we're just going to keep them busy. And we have a very busy fall schedule, so I think that we'll be able to keep all the guys busy that have 2 belts.
Brett Butler with The Source. First question for Darian Caldwell, AJ McKee. Obviously, you guys are in the tournament, and when you realize you were fighting each other, is this something that you hoped would have happened? Because I think for many fans that have been following both of your careers, this is a dream matchup that just happened to come together. And what you think when you knew you were going to fight each other? Because you both at a point in your career where, obviously for AJ, this is a big fight for you. And then for Darian, also, you got a young lion coming up. This will be big for you as well. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I think this fight was inevitable. AJ's a guy coming up. I'm a star in this division, in this sport, and if he wants to be a star, he's got to go through me. So I think it was just inevitable, you know.
For me, I don't know. It's just one fight at a time, you know. I wrote myself $1 million check when I was young, so I got a couple dreams to conquer here, and anybody standing in my way, they're gonna get that work. In other words, so yeah, it's the fight everyone wants to see. Looking forward to fighting and putting on a great show.
And next question for Scott. Obviously 50 Cent was a major part of the tournament system. What do you think, looking back at that interaction, and you think in the future there'll be any more collaborations with pop culture stars, music artists, things such as that?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a good friend of the family here at Bellator, and we love having him at the fights, and we love promoting his champagne brand for him. I think we both did a great job, and I think that you'll see him back soon.
It's Donald Corby, Sports Matters. Scott, we saw last week that DAZN UK is going to launch. How is that going to impact Bellator in the UK and Ireland?
I just think more fights. I mean, at the end of the day, DAZN has the exclusive tournament series, and there's 7 fights. And we're going to talk about maybe some other synergies we might be able to work together. Like I said, this is a company that's growing rapidly. We're growing rapidly, and we're going to have a lot of great content for DAZN.
Is that going to be the home of Bellator in the UK and Ireland going forward once it's launched?
Well, that's something that we'll have to talk about. I mean, they will have their 7 fights, and these are big fights, guys. These are pay-per-view quality fights. They will have those 7 fights for the UK and Ireland. And honestly, I haven't had a chance to talk to Joe until I said hello here, 15 minutes ago. So Jim and myself and Joe will have a conversation. But look at it, it's been a great relationship. We consider them friends, and let's see what happens.
For Pedro, just wanted to ask how you're feeling about the underdog tag, and is that driving you even more in your training going into this fight?
I mean, being the underdog is nothing new to me, Since I started my career, I always was the underdog back in Portugal, and all the way on my Bellator career, I always was the underdog. I started my Bellator career in Bellator 200. I was supposed to be like kind of a welcoming party to Daniel Crawford. I was clearly the underdog. What happened? I beat him. Then I went to Derek Campos, one of the biggest names in this company, and what happened? 2 minutes, I finished them like no one else did before. It's just another day in the office. In the end of the day, it's just another fight. Like I said before, when I'm inside of the cage, I see no names, I see no faces. I'm always the hunter, and doesn't matter who it is, it will be the prey. And this week, these guys will be the case. I will end up my hand on top, champion, and make history. And one by one, I'll take this whole tournament.
Last one for me, for James. You're a guy who has been controversial in the division. You've been sort of like Marmite. People love you or hate you, and that includes some of the guys on the stage. Not necessarily just Cal, who you're fighting, but obviously Darren. You've said some stuff about James before, and AJ, I know you have as well. How are you feeling up there at the moment?
I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks.
Talking about those rivalries, of course, one of the fascinating things coming up on 2 of the cards you've mentioned is, of course, Patricio and Patricky fighting Pedro and Peter. So we've got an SBG Pitbull Brothers rivalry that we can look forward to. I want to ask the Pitbull Brothers, how do you feel about this? Obviously, it's not country versus country, it's individual versus individual in mixed martial arts. But is there an element Oh, your glasses have come off. Okay. There's an element. Is there an element here of pit bulls against SBG as well?
Yes, it's a basic thing to do in Bellator because they are a great team, and we have several guys here too. And I think they fight good, but they talk too much, and I'm gonna stop it. That's it.
O único problema é que James Gallagher gosta de correr de luta contra lutador da gente da Pitbull Brothers.
He said the only problem is that James Gallagher loves to run from our fighters like Leandro Eagle from the Pitbull Brothers.
Poodles, fucking Pitbull Brothers.
Shut the fuck in. I said the fight.
You see, you've got a fight coming up. You mind your own fucking business and focus on yourself.
I said the fight.
You focus on yourself.
Let's go. 3 with 3.
Here,
from SBG.
what are you talking to a bantamweight for?
Hey, shut up.
I'm gonna smash your face in.
I'm
gonna break your whole face.
I gave a job for you.
I'm gonna break your brother's whole face.
Do you remember saying
He said Chandler and Henderson was the title leaders. No,
I have a job for you.
I'm gonna cave your head in, and then you're fucked as well. Shut your fucking mouth.
Okay, guys, okay.
Yeah, fuck you.
All right, James. All right, let's continue on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's continue on. James, let's go.
Let's go, Leon. Let's go, Leon. Beat this motherfucker.
Come on now.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
That was kind of exciting.
Let's go.
2 Phils sitting beside each other over there.
Shut the fuck up.
Make me, come on. Make me. Do something about it. Do something about it.
All right, quick question for Pedro.
What are your size, man? Too small for me. Shut the fuck. Accept the fight for him.
Okay, guys, let's go on to the next question, please. Next fighters.
Dimitri Kagan with Matt Social. I got a question for Pedro. Yesterday you told media that you will stop Patricio, and I don't doubt that you could. However, how do you see that happening? Do you see it as a submission, as a stoppage, knockout? And what makes you different than every other guy that's fought Patricio that hasn't been able to stop him?
First, I'm an MMA fighter. Doesn't matter where the fight goes, I can finish this fight, I'm a better striker than he is. He's only a counterpunch, He started his career as a pit bull, but right now he's just a chess player. They're trying to pass time, win rounds, and win by
I have more
points.
knockouts than you have victories.
And win by man, you're old, so it's normal that you have more fights than me, But hey, next week you have one more loss.
This week.
So whatever. Continue. These guys run their mouth, these guys run their mouth, talking about SPG. First of all, they were the first to come with this, bullshit like blah, and trying to have our attention. And then when they got answers, they start to say that we talk a lot. They were the ones talking shit from the very first time, backstage.
I want your attention. Who the fuck are you?
Backstage, they don't have stuff like that, I tried to look at their eyes. They didn't look at it. They were shitting themselves, So they just act tough in front of the cameras. But like I said, they are warriors, They have my respect, But inside of the cage, the eyes never lie, And these guys gonna see. First will be Patricio, and then will be Patricky, and then Patricio will have to defend his belt. And then Peter will be
and James Gallagher, what has happened?
And Peter will be like, man, you are the one.
Just
James
because
Gallagher.
he hurt it too much.
Hey, listen, James Gallagher is right there. If you want a picture,
they hurt the knee because he hurt too much.
If you want a picture right with him, you can ask him, man.
Fuck.
Stop being a fanboy. What
Just
you
a
mean?
fanboy, just
Shut your
fanboy.
fucking mouth and focus on your own fight.
Listen,
you never worry about me.
Okay, next question, please. Next question.
Next right there in front, he's going to whip your brother's ass next week.
Next
so
question
you
for
sit there and
Redeem.
shut your fucking
Как ты кончишь бой с этим? Как ты его кончишь?
Ну, буду работать в своей манере, наносить тяжелые удары руками, ногами и бой, хотелось бы нокаутом, а там как бы Спасибо.
He said I will fight my fight with heavy punches and heavy kicks. Of course, I'd like to win the fight by a knockout, but we'll see what happens.
Fernando Quiles Jr. for MMAnews.com. James, on a lighter note, Royce Gracie recently came out and he gave you a lot of respect. He said that not only do you have the talent, but you also have the discipline. What does it mean to get praise from a pioneer such as Gracie?
It's absolutely amazing for someone of that level there's no better man that knows. Do you know what I mean? This guy knows the game inside out. He's the one that started it up, and he knows what he sees. You know what I mean? And for a man to recognize my dedication to this sport, it absolutely means the world. And it gives me nothing but motivation for my future, and makes me more hungry and more disciplined and more focused than I've ever been before. Coming over this back injury, getting down on the rehab, man, I feel indestructible. I'm going to be in top shape come May 16th, and I'm going to run through him and make people's jaws drop with the performance that I'm going to put on. Trust me on that.
Mate, 100%.
Trust me on that.
100% he's getting bombed out. Trust us on that. May 16th, he's getting chinned. Guaranteed. 100%.
Getting chinned? You've never knocked anyone out in your life?
Mate, you've
never knocked anyone out in your life? You've never knocked anyone in your life?
You're a man in a child's body, mate. You're getting bashed up,
knocked anyone out in your life?
Trust us, mate.
You've never knocked anyone out?
There's no way
You idolise me. Look, he hasn't got my initials around his neck. He's a fan of me. So this is the reason why he's in New York, is because of me. It's his first holiday over to New York because of me. You're welcome, mate. You're fucking welcome.
You're getting bashed May 16th, mate.
You're doing fuck all.
Trust us, mate.
You'll see.
You'll see, mate.
No, won't.
Okay, next question.
We'll strangle you.
Hey, Cal, I guess I'll throw it over to you. For fans who haven't seen you before, what should they expect when you fight Gallagher?
Me coming out, putting it on him straight away, and him caving in. Straight over there. Look at him. I'm telling him now to his face. You get knocked clean out, mate.
You've never knocked anyone out in your
You'll
life.
see,
You
mate.
have no power.
I've put bigger men than you down, mate. Trust me on that. I have, mate. Trust us.
Who's someone at 2-26? The people you fight have 2 wins and 26 fucking losses.
He gets up and
embarrassing for you, mate.
He gets up
I'm
and Nathan
embarrassed
Grayson
for
and
you.
shits his fucking pants.
2-26.
Shits his pants. Nathan Grayson's name gets mentioned. He shits his fucking
Nathan
pants.
Grayson, who the
Drops your
fuck?
fucking bait, mate.
Mate, come on. The reason you're the main event is because of me.
And there'll be plenty after this for me as well, mate.
Bollocks.
Trust
Bollocks,
me.
you're a
Trust
washing.
me.
You're a washing. You're
We'll see.
another bum
Alright,
for me
next-
to be.
next question, please. Next
Can
question.
crusher.
Let's keep this thing
Can
going.
fucking Elner.
Exactly. You're a can. You're another one.
Time out,
Exactly.
boys. Let's go. Next question,
So
please.
I'll follow Mr. Coker's advice. Next question for Gegard Mousasi. Mousasi, this is the second time that you're fighting a welterweight champion in a middleweight title fight. Your top control was just too much for Rory McDonald. Are you expecting more of the same against Douglas Lima, or does he present an entirely new challenge for you?
Well, I'm gonna try to wrestle him a little bit, but he's a different fighter. Strength doesn't have to be a factor, I feel, if he's technical enough. But obviously, I feel I have the advantage in the stand-up.
And question for Ryan Bader. Ryan, you fought a who's who in MMA from, John Jones, Anthony Johnson, Rashad Evans, Quentin Rampage Jackson. The list goes on and on. How does Vadim Namkov stack up?
Yeah, he's right up there with them. He doesn't have the name recognition yet, but he just beat 3 former champions, in Bellator, and he's one of the guys that everybody's been talking about coming up. And he's proved that he has a next title shot. So, especially like I was saying, coming down, it's different fighting light heavyweights than heavyweight. And so I'm on that in my camp, and I'm looking forward to that different dynamic that brings. But yeah, he's right up there. I mean, he's tough, but it's time to derail that train, and he has more time to build back up.
Dan Yanofsky with Fight Sports here. I'm talking to Ryan. Your last fight against Chef Congo ended in controversy, and you had some interactions with Rampage Jackson as well. While you're focusing on your opponent right now, is there an opportunity down the line, do you think, for a rematch? And that's for Scott as well.
With Congo?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would love to. They brought zero evidence that I poked him in the nose. I had, how many cameras are at a fight? Or poked him in the eye. I poked him in the nose, and then he winced and got out of there. He wanted out, and that was his way out. And then, a drunk Rampage came over, called my sister a bitch, and they came over to the cage door when I was coming out, and started at me. So either one of them, but Rampage is nowhere near a title shot after his last fight.
And Scott, any one of those two down the line for Ryan, no matter what, of this contest?
Yeah, I think all the fighters are open at this point, and I think really it'll depend on does he want to stay at 205 after this fight and then fight heavyweight after. It's something that we won't determine until after the fight on May 9th.
So a question for Michael Chandler and Benson Henderson. Gents, obviously you've met before. I don't know if you knew before today that Mr. Coker has seen it as an eliminator for the lightweight title. You know, so we're going to second fight together. Benson, how do you feel about this second fight with Michael and being back in action?
Being back in action is going to be awesome. We got some great fighters here. Some guys get all worked up, get all antsy and whatnot. I think Bellator should do a one-off and let's have a fight tonight. Put it together, set it up. Who's all ready to fight tonight? Everybody's talking, let's do it. Set it up tonight. Bellator, we got a fight card right here. This is the fight card. Let's set it up. Bellator, get it down. How many people want to do it?
A bunch of animals against poodles. A bunch of animals against poodles. A bunch of animals against a fucking poodle.
You are shitting your pants. You are shitting your pants.
Okay, guys. Hey, guys, let's have some respect for the fighters. Mr. Chandler?
Yeah, more importantly, we do have some fights coming up instead of just talking. But, you know, this is great. Of course, it's an title eliminator. I've been fighting for the title or being on and fighting for elimination bouts my entire career here. And it really is awesome, as Scott has talked. You know, I think myself and the Pitbull brothers are probably the only three that have been here about a decade now. We're still up here at the top. We're still here in the big showcases. We're still doing some really cool stuff. So this is the size of everything that we're doing here in Bellator and the magnitude and going across the pond and doing all kinds of stuff. It's exciting. So for me, fighting, you know, one of the biggest names in the lightweight division, one of the toughest fights in the lightweight division, getting the opportunity to do it now since he pulled out of the last fight and I had a short notice opponent coming off of one of the best performances of my life. So I'm excited, reeling with confidence. I'm excited to go out there and do it in June.
And a kind of meta question for you again, Scott, really. As we can see today, it's probably a pleasure to be able to promote this because there's so many people that want to fight each other and there's clear vim under it all. You know, it's back to you really, and just to ask you how great it feels at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is just a testament to, you know, goals that we set 5 years ago. And just for the record, Michael and Benson were supposed to fight in Japan on December 29th in the Ryzen versus Bellator card, but I think we had an injury, so it postponed it. Chandler went over there, had a great knockout, and it's quite popular in Japan now. So it's you know, don't be surprised if you get the call again. We might go back, you know, at the end of the year. We'll see. But Benson is, you know, one of the top fighters in the world. He and Michael had a great fight last time. Looking forward to seeing the rematch. But as far as, you know, the overall fight card, I mean, look at, I mean, come on, this 5 years ago we started with a very small roster, and now it's built up to be something we're very proud of. And, you know, a lot of boxes have been checked, and it's continued to check. We're not stopping here, believe me, we're not stopping at this point. We're going to keep building, keep signing free agents. This thing is going to continue to grow, and so this is just the beginning, Gareth.
Just a quick question for Gegard. In your fight against Lovato, your striking output was not as high as it normally is. Was that something that had to do with the way he performed or an injury that you had going into the fight? Because at the end of the fight, right when the third round or fifth round ended, it looked like you limped a little bit and then you kind of tried to shake it off. So was it his offense that kind of limited your output or something?
No, I didn't have any injuries. I just felt like I didn't feel like fighting. That's it.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Any final questions? Yeah. Closing comments?
I think we're going to break it down for one-on-one. I mean, for pictures or one-on-ones, or.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, if you'll remain in your seats at this time, we'll take just a couple of moments to reset, and we'll have each of our matchups available on the stage for photo ops and face-offs. Lunch will be served here on site at 1:45. All right, at this time, we will start to face off our fighters. We'll go in the same order that the matchups were introduced. So that means the fight, Dublin, October 3rd, 3 Arena. Would you please welcome back to the stage, Peter Quealy, Patricky, Pitbull.
I know what you say. Do you remember? I
I say for you
Okay.
on the Twitter, give the job for your no run for
That's
me.
not you on
Shut the
Twitter. You can
fuck,
speak
man.
English.
Let's go.
Someone else is
Cala a
talking.
boca, seu idiota. Eu vou bater em você, seu otário. Eu dei um trabalho pra você aqui no Bellator. Eu falei pra você, seu idiota.
Good job.
Next up on stage, Chicago's event Saturday, June 6th, the lightweight rematch. Again, Iron Michael Chandler, Smooth, Benson Henderson.
Fala em português, isso não é português. Eu tô falando inglês.
And on that same card in Chicago, June 6th, it'll be the semifinal round getting underway. Featherweight World Grand Prix. Again, Darion Caldwell, AJ McKee.
Or no. All finishes. 1-1. I'm the one. Talking that shit, my nigga. Knock you out. All right. Watch. Good luck. Good luck. We gonna see you.
The Bellator European Series returns to the UK, returns to SSC Arena Wembley, Saturday, May 16th, the bantamweight main event. Please welcome back again Cal Eleanor and Mr. Banable, James Gallagher.
Don't touch it. Don't
Dead, man. You're striving. I'm not even letting you go. Welcome. You're done. You're blowing. You're done after me. You're gone. You're another bum for me to beat. You're another bum for me to beat.
All right, guys.
I'm trilling around.
Thank you. Thanks, James.
Bellator returns to the SAP Center in San Jose, California, May 9th for Bellator 242. First up, on Paramount Network, it'll be the vacant middleweight title on the line. Gegard Mousasi, Douglas Lima. On that same card, Bellator 242, May the 9th in the main event. It'll be the light heavyweight strap on the line. Please welcome back the challenger, Vadim Nemkov, and the double champ defending Ryan Darth Bader. And it all gets kicked off this Friday night, Bellator 241, just up the road, Mohegan Sun. We will do the final two quarterfinal round matchups in the Featherweight World Grand Prix. First up, it's Daniel Weichel, Manuel Sanchez. coming up Friday night live on DAZN. From Mohegan Sun in the main event, the other of our quarterfinal round matchups, Featherweight World Grand Prix. Please welcome first the challenger, Pedro Carvalho, and the champion, the double champ, Patricio Pitbull.
Okay, guys. Get in.
Vai morrer, viu, Carvalho? Vai morrer. Porra. Vai pensar Brasil Jiu-Jitsu, Brasil Jiu-Jitsu aí, viu? A faixa que na segura vem do nosso país, vem do Brasil. Viu? Faixa roxa cool. Errou! Essa faixa cool aí.
The new, all day, every day. March 13.
And with the face-offs complete for each of our matchups, we'll ask Patricio to please stay on the stage. We'll welcome Ryan Bader back to the stage for a photo op with the two Bellator double champs.
Pound for pound.
Now you both right down here center, please. Thank you.
Go.
Can we get him for a closer shot?
And with that, gentlemen, thank you very much. Joe, thank you. Scott, thank you, sir. And for the media that are joining us here today, we thank you for joining us.